Hello everyone! So today I'm gonna try to make tiny art with giant art supplies, which you may already know if you read the title of this video, so this intro is pretty pointless, but anyways, let's go! So when I saw this pencil in the store, I knew I had to buy it for a video. Look how huge it is compared to a normal pencil. And if I would happen to make any huge mistakes with my giant pencil, I also have this giant eraser. And to add some splashes of colors, I have these, not super huge but still larger than normal, highlighter pens. And the nib is pretty big, so it will be interesting to see how small I can draw with them. So I think what will be my biggest challenge with this pencil is that it is so heavy. I noticed pretty quickly when I started to scribble with it that it becomes very top heavy and it almost lives its own life. It starts to swing around a lot, which makes it very hard to control. And if I try to make a quicker circle with it, it turns into this triangular egg diamond shape, and it is also not super comfortable to hold. My hand started to get sore pretty quickly. The eraser was pretty great, both literally and figuratively. It just erased everything all at once. So here's the highlighters compared to a regular Copic sketch chisel nib, just so you can see the difference in size. The pen was pretty smooth to draw with, and one of the advantages, or less disadvantage perhaps, is that you can angle the nib so you can draw thinner lines too. It will become very handy when making the tiny art. I will start with just making a normal size drawing just to get more used to the supplies and get a feeling for them, and then I will try to recreate the same drawing but in smaller formats, so it will almost be like a how small can I draw challenge but with huge art supplies. And I'm drawing a little witch because it is one of my go-to things to draw when I don't really know what to draw. I started with a lighter sketch and I noticed that just by scribbling with a pencil, like making these quicker motions, made the pencil wave all over the place and the lines turned out all wobbly. So I had to really focus and draw slower to make the lines more steady. I think in this format the size of the pencil nib isn't a huge problem. I only struggled a little with the smaller details, but it was definitely doable. I think using the highlighter pens was much more challenging since the nibs are so wide, and even if I angled them and I tried using the smaller sides of the nib, it was a bit tricky to see exactly where I laid down the line and the colors. It may not be my best work, but honestly it is just for fun, and I'm not a huge fan of brighter neon colors, but I think I did the best with what I got and I'm happy with that. And I went back in with a pencil at the end to add some more details to the hair and to add a little more contrast and shading. It isn't a super dark pencil, so the lines turns out a little pale in my opinion. I would have loved a giant fine liner as well, but I couldn't really find one. So here's the first try. Let's see if I can recreate this little witch in even smaller formats. So as you can see, the paper I'm gonna draw on is much smaller than the previous one. The big pencil nib is definitely making it more difficult to draw, but I still feel like it is okay, not too challenging yet. I could get all the smaller details like the eyes and mouth and owl in there, so that's good. I honestly think that this one turned out a lot better than the bigger version. Sometimes shrinking the art down makes it look a little more cute and better because it is more simple. The coloring though was a bit of a struggle. I think a large bullet nib would be okay, but this chisel nib makes it so hard to figure out where the lines will end up. But I think I was lucky this time. I managed to fill in the eyes and the blush on her cheeks without destroying the whole piece. So next I'm trying to make an even smaller drawing. I think this is about half the size as the previous one. Now it is starting to be a little more difficult to draw with this giant pencil. I still managed to get in all the details in the face and the owl after erasing it and redrawing it, but it still looked like a blob, so I just left it like that. But I'm still pretty pleased with that this drawing actually looks like something. And I tried to be really careful when coloring with highlighters. I just realized that this could also be an highlighter challenge because they are not that easy to work with. I found myself leaning closer and closer to the drawing because I needed to see better, and I tried to keep my hand steady so I didn't accidentally cover the whole face in one color. I'm actually quite happy with how this one turned out. The cheek blush ended up a little too close to her eye, but other than that I think you can still see that it is the same character as in the bigger versions, but it was tricky to color, so I don't think that drawing smaller than this with these huge supplies will work that well, but I'm gonna try it anyway in the name of science and entertainment. The final little drawing is about 1/4 of the size of the previous one. I figured I might as well make it really small to make it interesting. The nib of the pencil is covering like 1/3 of the paper, so it was a bit hard to see what I was doing. And I noticed right away that I drew the witch a little too small. As stupid as it sounds, I could have drawn her a little bigger on this tiny piece of paper, but it doesn't really matter. The challenge is about making tiny art, and that is what I did. I can't say that the coloring turned out very advanced or anything. I kind of just made some dots on the paper, and I hope that the colors would end up in the right places. And yeah, it kind of worked. It didn't turn out too bad, but I think this is the smallest I can draw before it will just end up looking like a blob, because to be honest, it is a bit hard to see what this is already. This was a super fun challenge. I didn't think I would be able to draw this small. So yeah, there you have them. I hope you enjoyed this challenge and this video. So now I'm gonna try to figure out what to do with these gimmicky art supplies that I will never use again. If you have any other ideas for artsy challenges, old or new, that I haven't tried before and you would like to see me try out, leave your suggestions down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're new here, and click on the little bell to get notified every time I post new art and videos, and I will see you next time. Keep drawing my happy cats. Bye!